Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the West Haymarket JPA to order. To my left is Councilwoman Tammy Ward, and to my right is Regent Tim Clare. I am Lyrian Gaylor-Baird, Mayor of the City of Lincoln. And this is a public meeting subject to the State Open Meetings Act, a copy of which is located on the wall in the back of our chambers. For the order of business, our clerk will read each item on the agenda, and staff will then come forward to present on each item. We'll take public comment, and every speaker, if they could please state their name and address for the record, and note that testimony is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. And with that, would you please call the first item?
Approval of the minutes from the JPA meeting held August 19th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ward, second by Clare. Any discussion on the minutes? All right, please call the roll.
Clare,
Yes.
Gaylor-Baird,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. The next item is approval of the minutes from the JPA special meeting held October 27th, 2022.
So moved.
Moved by Ward, second by Clare. Any discussion of those minutes? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Clare,
Yes.
Gaylor-Baird,
Yes.
and Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. Next item is approval of the payment register for August through December 2022 and review of the expenditure report as of December 31st, 2022.
Hello, good afternoon, board members. Lynn Heaton, City Finance Department, City Finance Director and Treasurer of the West Haymarket JPA. I do have the payment register. I'll just cover some highlights. I know you all have your packet, so, but I'll go ahead and cover some highlights. The last period of time since we last presented this to you, this does cover the August through December 2022 time period. We did make in December one of the semi-annual bond principal and interest payments. That was for $16.7 million to Union Bank and Trust Company, just scheduled exactly as the debt service schedule indicates. The December payment does include principal, so that represents the $16.7 million. We did pay to the City of Lincoln, and this is for Parks and Recreation's maintenance of the it's the annual maintenance fee of Festival Lot and the Arena Drive. That was $58,871. A payment to the City of Lincoln Park and Go for the June 2022 through October 22 period for parking garage management. That was $798,438. District Energy Corporation, or DEC, payments for the West Haymarket. This is through is the August through December 2022 time period. That was $1.1 million. $808,000 or 71.7% was billed back from customers. Small amount to Forvis LLP, which is our auditor, independent auditor, $17,500 for the JPA's annual financial audit, and that is almost complete. We would expect that we'll be ready to present that report to you and be available to answer any questions at your next quarterly meeting.
Is that the full contract amount? 75?
Is that the full amount, David? Not just a quarter, is that, yeah, just a time? Yeah, it's not the full amount.
What will be due and owing after that?
I don't know, do you happen to have that, David? We can get back to you with that, Tim, if that's all right. I don't have that in front of me. Let's see, $20,060 to Lancaster County Treasurer, and this is for the special assessments on properties owned by the West Haymarket JPA as part of the special assessment for the neighborhood. $32,136 to MTZ Construction for ADA ramp improvements, and this is pursuant to a contract that was approved by the board previously. That is paid and reimbursed from the endowment. Yes, sir. Yep. I'm starting to anticipate your questions, sir. $63,051 to risk management. This is for the FY 22-23 insurance premiums. $252,500 to University of Nebraska Lincoln Athletics for purchase of season tickets for the suites and loges, which of course is then billed to those owners or the renters of the suites and loges. $201,317. Fourth quarter of FY 21-22 and first quarter 22-23 for the city staff costs to assist the JPA. And then finally, to Pinnacle Bank Arena, we have a number of things to PBA. $329,000 for arena repair, maintenance, and minor equipment, according to the approved budget for the period of June 2022 through November 2022. The annual operating increment of $300,000, that's $150,000 each increment for the first and second quarter of FY23. And finally, $500,000 paid to PBA for first and second quarter of fiscal year 23 sponsorships, which is in essence the IMG guaranteed rights contract, which we pay to the arena. And are there any questions on the payment register? Nope.
No, I assume what you're going to do is you're going to get more depth on it.
I do, sir, yes. I have a couple more things I want to share with you. Because this is on the payment register side, I do like to always share how we're doing on occupation taxes. And for the fiscal year to date, we are 9.9% better than last year's occupation tax revenues. Relative to the budget, if you will, if we just take the amount estimated for the current fiscal year and divide that evenly by month, we are also year-to-date 9.3% better than forecast. So doing very well on occupation tax revenues. Just as a comparison to the original projections, that when the arena was first opened, and those what was believed to how much would be collected by now, we have collected in occupation taxes the equivalent of how much was estimated by the year 2037. So we are 15 years ahead of schedule according to the original projections. So for instance, cumulatively, compared to the original projections, through the end of last year, through the end of December, 19.6% better than had been estimated cumulatively during that time period. I do have a bar graph just to show you. Make sure I get this lined up right. And this is just a comparison, as I've been referencing, actual versus the original projections. The blue line is the original projections. The gray through 2022 is the actual experience. You can see during the pandemic there was a dip, but we have recovered quite nicely, as I've been mentioning to the board. And the orange line is our future projections, but certainly doing very, very well. Maybe I'll get a bigger chart for you next time.
Well,
Any questions?
Yeah, I'm looking at that, and it does not show the potential dip invested in a baseball.
Well, this is occupation tax revenues. I do have another chart for you that is the projected cash balances.
Got it.
Yeah, and if I may, I'd like to present that to you when we go to the next agenda item, which is specifically related to the ball field complex. Thank you, sir. Any questions?
All right, thank you so much, Director Heaton.
Thank
Is
you.
there anyone else present who would like to speak to this item? All right, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion. Oh, I apologize, I didn't see her.
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. So we could say that occupation tax saves the day. When does that end, Mr. Heaton?
The bonds are scheduled to be, so the occupation taxes continues as long as we have payments on the bonds that were taken out by the JPA, and that's through 2046.
Okay, so we voted for that, or that was included in the vote?
The City of Lincoln did vote for the arena, and the occupation tax was a part of the financing packages, yes.
Uh-huh. For the occupation tax,
Correct.
too?
Yep.
Okay. I don't remember that being on the ballot. This is everything, people eating out, people on their gas bill, on their electric
No,
bill.
it's restaurants, bars, hotels for the most part.
Okay,
yes.
well, there's an occupation tax on that, on those bills too.
There's gas tax on gasoline.
No,
Certainly, that's not a city tax, however.
it's called an occupation tax.
Well, certainly, what's funding the arena is occupation taxes on restaurants and bars and hotels. For the most part, there are some other small, very, very small.
Not on anything else.
Rental cars, thank you, sir. Yes, I forgot about the rental cars.
On what?
Rental cars, yes.
Okay. So if we have a recession and we have a lot of these things closing, which we've lost a lot of restaurants in Lincoln, the bars usually are popular. We could be in, have less income. But you're saying that there's enough occupation tax to carry us?
Our occupation tax revenues have been performing very, very well.
To carry us if there is a dip?
We do have cash balances, cash reserves that are also available.
Okay, and how much is that?
Our cash balance here recently is over $35 million.
Okay. So in 2019, Brandon Kaufman said there would be a deficit in 2023, 24, 25. And I see it has come up for the next budget. So what is your projection that you can cover that, or can you do that?
The next agenda item, we do have a chart that will show projected cash balances. And what that will show is that we have enough to cover what is necessary for one full year's worth of expenses and debt service payments and things of that nature.
1 year? Okay. So that would be 2023 or what year?
2025, I believe, is what that chart will show.
Through 25?
In the year 25. But are you referring to the payments for the the Lincoln Youth Complex, or what specifically?
No, the whole deficit that was projected.
I guess I don't have in front of me what Brandon Kaufman shared with you at that time. It's a little difficult for me to address
1 minute.
what he
Okay.
shared.
He projected that there was a built-in deficit 23, 24, 25.
There are expenses and revenues every year. The reason we maintain a prudent balance in the fund is in order to make sure we can address ebbs and flows.
Okay. But you just have done for 1 year, is that right?
No, we do multi-year projections. We have projections going out through 2046.
You do, okay. It's not included in this, though.
The next agenda, I actually have it
Bill?
shown. But yeah, I've got projected cash balances, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to this item? All right, seeing none, ask if there's any further discussion. Okay. We get a motion on the payment register.
Second.
Okay, moved by Claire, second by Ward. Please call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. The next item is WH 23-1, resolution to approve the amended operating budget and capital improvement program for the West Haymarket JPA for September 1, 2022 through August 31st, 2023.
Hello again, Lynn Heaton, City Finance Director, 555 South 10th Street. I'm here to present to you an amendment to the FY23 budget. in order to have the budget reflect the board's decision from its October meeting for the contribution to the Lincoln Youth Complex. So in your packet, you would have a copy of that budget, and on the second page of that, you would see that the transfer of funds, $1.5 million, which is this fiscal year's contribution to the Lincoln Youth Complex. Just to have you have a little bit more information about what impact that has on projected cash balances. This bar chart has a couple different items. The blue bars are the projected cash balance for each fiscal year. The orange line represents the amount of reserved cash for debt service, for 1 year of debt service operations, maintenance, depreciation, and replacement. And as you can see in this, so this line, the bars do reflect for the years 23, 24, and 25, the contributions to the Lincoln Youth Complex, along with all other budgeted or planned expenses. And you can see that we do maintain a reserve of that full year of the debt service operation, maintenance, depreciation, and replacement expenses. I will point out that the estimated revenues for, and this do not yet incorporate any estimate of the impact of the Lincoln Youth Complex on the occupation tax revenues. But I can offer this. The Lincoln Youth Complex organization did commission a study by Convention Sports and Leisure as a consultant for doing economic impact estimates. And based on that study, Don Hers, who represented the Lincoln Youth Complex organization, did estimate that JPA revenues would increase nearly $142,000 annually for occupation tax, and so that, but that isn't reflected. That $142,000 annual amount is not reflected in the blue bars. Are there any questions on this?
So stated differently, we started 20, if I can see your numbers at the bottom there, it says 2022, we're at a high of roughly 40, a little over 40 million. And then the next 3 years, we're taking out that 15 or 1.5
Correct.
Expense. And what you're saying is that does not reflect, that reflects the investment in anticipated expenses, but it does not include anticipated cash flow that would come in as a result of the baseball fields, which if you get tournaments in here, you're talking about people going to our restaurants, people staying in our hotels and motels, potentially renting cars, that type of thing, which will only drive the blue columns higher.
Correct, sir. Just to add to the surplus over the reserve amount.
Is there a chance that by the next time we have this discussion that can be updated?
I think we can certainly add that, yes.
I mean, I realize it's a guesstimate,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it'd be maybe we can have something to set aside what's the value of this investment, because I think it's a great investment, and I think it's a great project for Lincoln. It's much needed, as we said before, but I'd like to have it reflected in dollars and cents too.
Absolutely. We can include that in the future on that, yeah. Any other questions? Thank you.
I don't think so. Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to this item?
So you've included the operation in this, this is the agenda.
We are on
The
item
Haymarket.
6, the
Okay.
amended
He
operating
didn't
budget
really
and capital
address that.
improvement program.
So, in the budget, there was 1.5 million of transfer of funds to amend, in the amended budget. Was that from your cash reserve?
It is a budgeted expense for the fiscal year, and it is built into our projections for the cash balance, yes.
It came from the cash balance.
It's paid from the fund that pays all of the expenses and that receives the revenues. for
Okay.
the
Usually, we haven't seen money coming into the budget, the West budget. They've been pretty much in the red. So when you show your 8 million on the as of 12/31/22, that came from cash balance.
Yeah, I don't have that one in front of me, but yes, that is from that same fund that it receives the revenues and pays the expenses.
Okay, which was 35, you said today?
Actually, that report does have, sorry, the one you had a moment ago. So there's the fund balance.
Okay. So the fund balance is different than the cash balance, or is that the same thing?
Well, for all intents and purposes, it is the same amount, the same fund that receives the revenues and pays the expenses.
Okay, well, earlier it was stated you had 35 million in the cash
I
balance.
was sorry, I was going from memory.
Okay, so, in this projection, no, it's not even projection, that's what, the end of the year, the, cash balance is 38.
Yes,
Is that right?
very strong balance.
Okay, and then that's occupation tax too?
All revenues, yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
including occupation tax, yes.
Okay. And so what's anticipated for 2023?
For the current fiscal year, budgeted revenues of nearly $34 million.
Okay. It shows the deficit, and also a deficit, or you didn't put that in there? Your revenues of 38, but your expenditures of 37. Right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right? There would be a deficit in this operating budget also?
So, yeah, what this shows is budgeted revenues of almost 34 million, and budgeted expenditures, including debt service payments, of 38.8.
Okay, okay. So, the Brandon Kaufman said this in 2019. We wrote a letter to
1
the
minute.
editor to let people know that this was coming up. And, but the JPA continues to spend money like there's no tomorrow, and puts the populace, taxpayers in Lincoln, in difficulty. We believe it's prudent to have some kind of word to people that is very specific about what's going on. Now, you give money for the youth complex because that was dear to your heart, but you've been told that it's going to bring money into Lincoln. That's wishful thinking.
5 minutes.
And also a way for the Chamber of Commerce and so forth to say that, oh gee, this is a great place for people to come and spend their money. And no doubt about it, a youth complex is good for the youth, we hope. But, you know, in the interest of transparency, this needs to be spelled out to the public because they are ultimately responsible. And if it ends in 2045, everything should be zero. That's the plan?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
if this all ends in 2045, it's supposed to be zero.
Well, the occupation tax continues until the bonds are fully paid off. That's right. And that's we're currently
Should
projected for
be.
2045, 2046. Yes, that
Should
fiscal
be
year.
zero. A lot of things can happen between now and then. This country is in very big difficulty, and Lincoln is no different. So there needs to be some kind of word to people that this is our projection, but anything can happen and you are responsible. That's a big order for politicians to speak to, and I doubt that you'll do it because that is too transparent to the public. But we believe that in transparency and in straightforwardness with people who give you money, and this doesn't always happen. So this is our charge to you, recommendation, information of where we stand, and we hope that you will look to it. The other thing is, it looks like you're just handing out money to the arena, which is not self-supporting. And perhaps it would be prudent to look at cutting some of that. There's quite a few items in this agenda for that.
Would anyone else like to speak to this item? Right? Seeing none, or go ahead, discussion?
With the budget that we have,
Mhm.
we spent 1.5 million for 3 consecutive years. We will still have positive balance in our, still be able to pay our bills, and still be able to do the things.
Your light needs to.
I thought you were shutting me off.
No, I'm turning you on.
Sorry about that. And so even with that expenditure, we're able to pay our bills, and if it brings in zero, we're still positive cash flow.
Yes, what I'd tell you, in my experience, a full year's worth of expenses as a reserve is a very strong reserve. When I worked for the state of Nebraska in the governor's budget office for over 20 years, there was, there were very many experiences where funds were not able to maintain that healthy of a balance. It's a very healthy reserve.
Yeah. So I think we should have a story come out and talk about what great position we're in.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the dais? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd entertain a motion on item 6.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Claire, seconded by Ward. Please call the roll on item 6.
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried, 3-0. The next item is WH 23-2, resolution to approve a contract with Avase for a digital sound processor for the Pinnacle Bank Arena for a total amount not to exceed $9,324 pursuant to quote number 6565.
Hi,
Welcome.
Ryan Weiss, Director of Operations, Pinnacle Bank Arena, 400 Pinnacle Arena Drive. So the digital processor that controls the speakers or projects sound on the speakers in the restrooms, concourses underneath the scoreboard hung has gone out. We don't have control over that anymore. So if you've gone to a basketball game or gone to anything where those speakers project anything, you can't hear it. I went through city purchasing process. We went out to bid for this, and AVSE did win the bid for that. But as of right now, we're still kind of in limbo. So as we move forward, we're just gonna, once they come in, they'll get it fixed and we can have sound again and people will be happy. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Moore?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question, Brian, and you may have just said this. Are these the original speakers?
these are the original from 10 years
Years
ago.
ago,
The
okay.
the DSP, the digital sound processor, is original from 10 years, or
Okay.
for the past 10 years. This does happen. We did replace some of the amps last summer.
Mm-hmm.
So that also helps project the sound throughout the building. So once we replace the amps, they replace the DSP for those amps for the Arena Bowl, but this is for the scoreboard, the suite level, all the other important levels of the Arena Bowl.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Certainly
Thank you.
want people to be happy,
Yes.
not
Is this,
cranky.
the warranty's expired on this, obviously?
Yeah, warranty's expired on this. There's no warranty left. It was a 5-year warranty. So we're kind of out of
What's the life expectancy on one of these?
another 10.
On the
another 10.
scoreboard,
Oh, the scoreboard. This is the sound processor.
right?
The sound processor for this is another 10 years, probably.
I'm not following your question. Or my question, I guess.
I'm sorry.
The scoreboard itself, it's
Oh.
it's out of warranty, and the sound system that accompanied the scoreboard is out of warranty as well?
The sound system that controls the speakers underneath the scoreboard
Yes.
is completely, totally different than what's on the next agenda item going down on the scoreboard control side. This is just for the sound that is projected throughout the arena from anytime we do a basketball game or anything like that. So, but yes, the digital sound processor that has gone out is no longer in warranty. It was a 5-year warranty. It worked for 10 years. So, it's
So
time.
what's an average life expectancy of that type of sound?
The processor?
Yeah.
It's 10 years. 8 to 10 years is what's always projected. I've been in other arenas before that it lasted 8 years or it lasted 10. Some of them have actually lasted a little bit longer. But luckily, we do take care of our equipment really well, and we continue to show that, so as much as we
It's
can.
like a vehicle,
Just like a vehicle, things go out.
maintenance.
Yep, things
got
go
it.
out.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to item 7?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. Well, things do go out, but as we look back at the Pinnacle Bank Arena, it is a money pit. It never has been self-supporting. And as long as you've built in helping them and keeping people happy, which is not music to the taxpayers' ears, I guess we have to accept it. But, you know, in this budget, I don't even see the $2 million that was given to you in the federal funds for COVID. And then there's also other operating income. What is that? And they get $600,000 from you every year. When this was sold, SMG with Tom Lorenz stated that it would be a profitable or would break even, but it has not proved to be in 6 years. So hopefully you are going to have enough money to keep handing out money for things that go broke. This isn't the first thing that has to be replaced, and Tom Lorenz admitted that some of the things were not working as well as they thought. As my memory. So, again, people need to know the truth in straightforward facts. And I'm not sure just saying keep people happy is going to satisfy that. For people who care about how their money is being spent. It's real easy to spend other people's money when in 5 years or however long, you can move on and hand whatever issue that's good and bad to the next administration. We ask you to be a little bit more responsible than that.
Are there any other folks present who would like to speak to item 7? All right, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Claire, seconded by Ward. Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. The next item is WH 23-3, resolution to approve an amendment to renew agreement with Carbon House for website hosting and support services for the Pinnacle Bank Arena for a total amount not to exceed $28,080.
Chris Connolly, City Law Department. This is another contract for web hosting. In this case, this is kind of specialized web hosting service. It's connected into the industry and is used for handling ticket sales and all kinds of tasks that are needed in interfacing with the industry and with customers for various shows. And so this is a renewal of the current contract that we have with Carbon House. And this goes back, I believe, to about 2015, 2016 is when we first started dealing with Carbon House. And so there was the most recent agreement was in 2020, and this is a renewal of the agreement from there. And so if there's other questions, Trent Brown is here that can explain some of the details of how this web hosting service works. But otherwise, we would ask for your approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Chris? Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to this item? We'll take public comment on item 8 if anyone would like to bring it. Okay. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion on item 8.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ward, seconded by Claire. Any discussion on item 8? All right. We're just glad it's not a Ticketmaster issue.
Yeah.
All right. Please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. The next item is WH 23-4, resolution to approve a consultant agreement with 5 Nines Technology Group for information technology services for the Pinnacle Bank Arena for a term of 3 years for a total amount not to exceed $213,000.
Brian Weiss, Pinnacle Bank Arena, Director of Ops, 400 Pinnacle Arena Drive. This is just our standard renewal that we'd like to continue doing service with 5 Nines, which is our local company. They do a lot for us as far as anything IT purposes go. They're there for us 24/7. So when something does kind of hit the fan, we lean on them quite a bit. So they're there, and we appreciate them. So.
Any questions for Brian? Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak to this item, number 9?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. It's good to deal with local folks and help their budgets too.
Okay. Would anyone else like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ward, second by Claire. Any further discussion on item 9? Please call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
and Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. The next item is WH 23-5, resolution to approve a contract with Daktronics for a new scoreboard control system for the Pinnacle Bank Arena for a total amount not to exceed $124,775 pursuant to quote requisition OR 17554.
Ryan Weiss, Pinnacle Bank Arena, Director of
Did
Ops.
you draw the short straw today?
Did, and I'm happy to do it. This scoreboard control is everything that puts our graphics on scoreboard for ribbon boards, for concerts, different things like that. This is the main hub that controls our scoreboard. So the Huskers have the same system as we do, or that we want to get. So there's a lot of continuity, a lot of help with them. So if there's an issue down the road, they can come swing over and kind of help us out. They know the system just as well as we will. The current system that we have, we are currently buying parts on eBay just to get us along. And the new system would be installed by next basketball season, if approved today. And Daktronics is throughout the country doing different control softwares. To kind of go back to your question about the scoreboard, just in general, if the scoreboard ever goes out, we can actually use this control system to kind of move to attach to the new board or to the new ribbon boards in the future. So we project 10 years, 8 to 10 years on this one as well, that this will last us. The current control system's lasted since the building opened. We haven't replaced that. And that's why we're kind of having buying parts on eBay if we had to, which is always fun. So, any questions on this?
No, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to comment on item 10?
Well, we applaud you for being fiscally responsible and getting parts. That's what people have to do in the ordinary scheme of life. They have to make do with their budgets. And we applaud you for that. I hope that this was bid out, because in the past there have been purchases of large expense that were the vendor was chosen because the staff or the staff leader believed that the product that was the lowest bid was not what they wanted, and so the JPA went along with that kind of request, which is not in the interest of the taxpayer. Or if there is, then that needs to be shared in detail to them. It's too easy, as I said, to spend other people's money. And right now, states are in flush, as the city is also. But that's not going to continue. And we all may be counting our pennies.
Is there any further comment on the contract with Daktronics? Seeing none, entertain a motion on item 10.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Claire, seconded by Ward. Any further discussion from the JPA members? Right. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. The next meeting date will be Thursday, April 27th, 2023 at 2:30 p.m. here in council chambers.
With that, we've come to the end of our agenda, and I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ward and second by Claire. Please call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Casey.